Hello, I am live. I hope, maybe. I'm live to talk to you for our scheduled chat today on handling your whippets around visitors in the home. So it might take everyone a few minutes to turn up, maybe not. A few of you are popping up really fast, but if you're here, feel free to comment with your whippet's age and how they are with visitors in the home currently. It's always good to know. It's always good to know these things. As always, I think, yeah, you can just see Arkle just behind me. We've got fireworks going off. Not me personally, but somebody has. So I'm keeping a bit of an eye on him in the background. He has got a lovely tasty chew, so hopefully he'll be fine. So, we've got a few of you here. We'll get started. Visitors in the home. So what I will be talking about today is probably more specifically the issue of being excited with visitors in the home rather than reactive, because reactivity is going to be a bit complex, and I mean reactive as in unhappy with people in the home. So we're going to cover the excitement. So Wicket says 12 and 18 months and super excited with visitors jumping on them. Yes, that's what we're going to be talking about. Really excited. They're like kangaroos, whippets, when they're excited. I think I have said that before. They just fly in the air. I will be honest, Arkle has had the massage lady come around to see him this week for all of his joints. My God, he was so excited. We have much work to do. He throws his neck into theirs. We've got work to do. So we're talking excitement today. We will be working on this ourselves quite a lot. And again, feel free to comment as you go along with any questions or comments. Liz has a kangaroo too. It's shocking how many kangaroo whippets there are. It's not something I read about before I got whippets, I will say. They're supposed to be sedate and calm. And I don't think I have that experience yet. Someone put a laugh around. Yeah, I've not had that experience yet. So, good, he's sat by me. That's fine. So, what we want to do is to make them calmer around your visitors. We want them to be a bit more relaxed. I don't necessarily want my whippets just, sat still, but I definitely want them to not make the person visiting feel a little bit terrified or covered in nail marks. Springs, not back legs. Yes, I think that's it. I think that's definitely it. So I've had a range. All of my whippets are very different in how they feel about people coming through the door. My oldest whippet has always just not cared, which is a bit concerning. Ollie doesn't care. He's more of a greyhound in temperament. He is a whippet, but the best way I can liken him is a greyhound. So people come in, Ollie says hi, he goes back to sleep. I think that's pretty good. I've got Marley, who is terrified of people. And then I have Arkle, wherever he's gone, who is very excited, and Arthur used to be very excited too. There are a lot of different ways that we can approach this. There are a lot of different things that we can do, because although we love our whippets and we love them very much, I personally don't mind mine jumping on me. I know that not everyone who visits my house wants... Arkle's decided to start doing this when I do these things. Just find something. Not everyone wants my whippet jumping all over them. So what we want to think about is how we can set them up for success, because there are two elements to this. There is the part we can control, the dog, and then there's the other element, which isn't always easy to control, which is other people. Because if you tell people, I don't know if you've all had these experiences where you're like, please don't encourage my dog to jump up. They go, no, it doesn't matter. I love dogs. They can jump up me. And they all say that when your dog's a puppy. And then a few months later, they're the same people maybe going, oh, well, why is he jumping on me? He's so big now. So we're going to try and control the dog aspect today. Guess who don't listen? Yes. I'll try and give you some tools for guests who don't listen. But mainly we're going to try and control the part we can a little better today, Debbie. I'm hoping. If my whippet can keep still for 5 minutes, as you can see. we're going through adolescence, so we are taking the deepest of breaths in our house. Calming breaths, that is. So we want to set them up for success. So what do I mean by that is I want it to be so that my Whippet finds it quite easy when people come through the door to not think people are a cue for jumping up, particularly visitors, people who are not usually in the house. For me, the way that I approach this and the way that I would try and approach this is I don't really want my Whippets right there at the front door when I'm opening it, because I find that the arousal goes up and they get very excited, and there's usually people who are very exciting coming through the door. You're trying to tell the dog to behave, the people to behave. It's very unlikely going to happen in my experience. Maybe some of you have guests who listen, but I definitely don't. Yes, it will be available later to rewatch, definitely. It should be. It should stay recorded in the group. You've not missed much, to be fair. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try not to have my Whippet near the front door. I am probably going to have them in a different area of the house, whether that's just in the living room or just in the kitchen. I'm going to have a gated area possibly, or a crate if I use one. And I'm going to have them there because that means they can't be at the front door jumping all over people before anyone has had a chance to get ready. This is something that everyone always goes, oh, my dog hates being left behind the gate when I answer the door, or my dog just hates being behind there in general. And this is where I want you to think about setting them up for success. So what I am trying to do a lot of, and I've done loads of since we had the visitor who Arkle got very excited about, is he will be going in the kitchen when people just arrive. He'll have some stuff to do, he'll have a licky mat, he'll have a snuffle mat, he'll have some bits and bobs. That way, the goal is I go, I answer the door, I let the person in, I say don't touch him until his feet are on the floor. And I hope they listen. I wait for him to calm down behind the gate. When he is casual and calm, I let him in, and I am ready to reward good choices. How does he find these things when I'm doing a live? What have you got? You want a hoof? Have a hoof. What I want to make sure of is that my Whippet's not stupid. I want to make sure that they're not understanding my game. Arkle already clicked on when I tried this the other day, because I've not done it consistently, that when I put him behind the gate with Kongs and licky mats, what happens? I'm going to answer the door. So he has almost already learned that he's going to jump up and down and he literally kangaroo. It's ridiculous. He will just bunny hop, kangaroo hop, whatever, up and down at the gate. That's not particularly helpful because it is building his excitement. His excitement isn't going down, it's going up. So what I need to do is desensitize him to the process. So I'm going to put him behind that gate, and I am going to, when I have no visitors expected, go and answer the front door. And say, hello, come in, to no one. It's okay, my neighbours are used to this. It might take some getting used to for you guys, but it's being a crazy human. I answer the door, there is no one there, I return to him, he's still faffing with his licky mats, whatever I have left him with, and he's enjoying that. And I'm going to keep going and answering the door to absolutely nobody. Because I don't just want my Whippet to know that when I put him behind the gate, that means there's people he should be getting excited about, or in the crate, or wherever it is you might put your dog. If we only ever put them there when exciting things happen, they know it's a cue for that, and it makes it more exciting. So my best suggestion is you put them there, nothing exciting is happening, they learn it's actually a bit boring. They get used to this, they get used to it being boring. You could do it a couple of times a week, once a day if you're really sure you want it beaten. And they're going to learn that being behind the gate is less of a big deal, or wherever you're putting them, than you just doing it when people come around. You're exactly where I'm going with that, Liz. That is my next point. You're ahead of me there. It says he gets excited when the bell rings at the gate. Keep ringing the bell to desensitize him then. Absolutely. I would ring the bell loads. I had a client do this and she took it like to a huge level. Her dog got excited with visitors because very often the doorbell and the door knocking is the trigger that often starts the process. So there are a few ways that I approach that. One is absolutely ring that bell throughout the day, when they're busy, when they're not busy. Do it a lot, as long as they're not dogs who are necessarily barking. But even then, play it by ear, but maybe we can talk about it like specifically for your dog. But I'd play the doorbell, but I wouldn't just play the doorbell. I would again play the doorbell, answer the door to no one, and come back. There's one thing I found with one of my dogs who had unrelated issues around the door was that they're not stupid again. There's a very big difference between us ringing the doorbell and doing nothing versus real life when the doorbell goes and we go, oh God, I better go and answer it. They know the difference. So again, I'm going to start ringing that doorbell, answering the door to no one, come back, wasn't a big deal. I can also record the sound of that doorbell, record the sound of that door knocking, whatever it is, and play it at a low level, almost on a loop throughout 5 minutes, 10 minutes, as well as playing it at random. Because then it really becomes no big deal. The reason they react to the doorbell, to the door, because they're really good observers and they know that when the doorbell goes, exciting things happen. Fun things happen for most of them. It is a good experience. So absolutely desensitize them to that doorbell, to the door knocking. My best suggestion is either you have a bell that you ring directly, like to the bell, whatever kind of bell it is, like a visual one or just a normal doorbell. Or if that's not possible because you've got a door knocker, you don't have a bell, record the sound of the door knocking. Get yourself a speaker and put it near the door. Because I really find that my dogs know when it's my phone when they play these things. It's the same for fireworks. They absolutely know, oh, she stood there with her phone and the sound is coming off of her phone. That sound is not the same as when it comes from near the door. So I definitely make sure that I am playing that sound from the nearest location to my door, if that makes sense to everyone. So I've got a few approaches here. I've got making sure there's a separate area if possible, where possible. And I'm going to come to if that's not possible in a moment. Then they're chilled, you've practiced loads with answering the door to nobody, you've desensitized to the doorbell, and this should all help to drop their excitement levels. When they are around people, or if you don't have that option of the gate, you can let the people in and they can do a quick hello without any major fuss for them jumping up. I like people to do a quick hello because it's very frustrating for a dog if everyone ignores them. They don't fully understand it if you're just turning your back and ignoring them. They're so excited. They're in a very emotional place, I think, Whippets in this instance. They're like, oh my God, it's people, I love them. And they're not really thinking straight. They're probably not thinking at all. Ignoring them is just going to increase some frustration if it's a very arms folded, back turn thing. I'd rather everyone just say quick hello, pat, then sort of carried on with their conversations with the people in the house. While you, as the owner, are going to have loads of treats ready. And any moment your Whippet's feet hit the floor, you are going to mark them or praise them and give them a treat. Only when those feet are on the floor. I would play by ear how I would handle them jumping up. I have taught most of my Whippets a cue that means get your feet off that, whether it is furniture, counters, which I'm sure you all understand thoroughly, or people. And I'll pop a video of that either on this event or in the group somewhere of teaching it off. Sometimes I will use an off, but if I'm stood there going off, off, get your feet off, that's not working. So I need to think of something else. I can feed them on the floor. I can leave a lead trailing on them to lead them away. These are all just options. I would try one thing at a time consistently rather than go for possibly everything I say today. It's just that you might find something that is really clicking for you and your Whippet individually. So you can reward good choices, you can reward feet on the floor, you could tell people they can fuss them when their feet are on the floor. I honestly will try again with that licky mat once they're a little bit fizzed down and let them try and chill. Sometimes some of our whippets do better with being told exactly what to do. Some of our whippets do prefer that. Not all of them do. Some of them will laugh in your face. But some of your whippets are going to like being told, I would like you to do this, please do this. And this is where you can have behaviours that you have previously taught and you can be utilising them. So my whippets know the touch cue. Some of you will know this. Your dog's nose touches your hand. I will teach my whippets this a lot, with them running from a distance, touching my hand. And then I can ask people when they come in, put their hand out, say to my whippet, go touch. When they touch, they get a yes from me and a treat. Because this gives them something to do, gives them some interaction with people. It's also something that, again, if they're not fearful of visitors, because I wouldn't want to flood them with if they're nervous. But if you've got guests who are not good at listening, I find as soon as they walk through the door, just going, put your hand out. They go, oh, okay. And they put their hand out. And your whippet knows what to do. They are less likely to go, what? Why? In my experience, if you just say it as though it's life or death, put your hand out. They're like, okay. They do it. Your whippet knows to touch the hand. Your guests aren't jumping all over your dogs. That can be a good approach. They get some social contact and they learn that there is a different behaviour they can do rather than jumping up and mugging at your visitors. Another one of a behaviour that I teach that comes in quite handy is I teach my dogs to chill on a bed. This is something I try and teach as much as I can from a young age. A lot of good things happen on my dog's mats. I've got one next to me. It's a new mat, it's very exciting. This is quite a big mat, but I do find that whippets like luxury, so I've just decided to go with it. As you can see, my whippet's not on it. He's chosen the sofa nearby. However, I often have mats everywhere, beds, and my dogs know this is a good place to be. They know to go to their bed on cue. They know to chill on their bed for a period of time. So I can use that when people come round. I could practice them being on the bed while I answer the door to an imaginary person. I could practice them being on the bed while a member of my household is coming in, to practice it for when I have visitors. Equally, I could just be quick off the mark and tell my dog to go to their bed when there are visitors there, and then I can just have some of their food and just drip feed them. Not big and exciting, just between their feet, for being calm, making good choices around the visitors. So I've got Go Touch, I've got mat work, I've got a few different things to handle those visitors in the house. If I'm in any doubt, my whippet's driving me mad. One of my favourite things to do, a little more difficult at this time of year, but well, in the UK anyway at the minute, is I would get a handful of the best treats in the world and chuck them outside for a few minutes. Not the dog, the treats. Chuck the treats outside. You don't have to chuck the dog outside. I don't think before I talk sometimes. Chuck the treats outside. The whippet should follow. This is going to give them something else to do and calm them down. Sniffing is very calming. Sniffing is very relaxing. And in my experience, as odd as it sounds, being outside and sniffing is almost like a reset. They go out, they piddle about, and they come back in and they're feeling more relaxed. If I don't have the outside, or if it's freezing cold, or if it's dark, I'll just do it in a different area, like in the kitchen. I don't have to shut them in, I don't have to shut them out. I'm just giving, if in doubt, sniff your feelings instead of jumping all over my visitors. Because if they're not able to think, I'm just going to give them something else to think about and let them chill out. So they are a few of my approaches to handling dogs with visitors. It's definitely really one of those things that you need to practice loads of, desensitize loads. A lot of it, if you've got young dogs, is something they will grow out of to a degree. As with everything, they're not going to grow out of it fully, but they are going to tone themselves down quite a bit when they hit whatever magic age they hit. Most of my Whippets, it seems to be about 3 they calm down. Just another 2 years to go. But I've heard Whippets mature sooner. I've heard that. I've not experienced it. I've heard it. So some of your dogs will tone down with age. Anyway, we've got a few techniques there. We've got the ability to separate them when people come in, desensitize them to the door, desensitize them to us going back and forth, do some mat work, do some go touch. In a moment, I'm going to cover something people were asking about a lot, which is, I'm going to say very vaguely linked, and talk about them chilling in the pub around visitors to the pub or cafe or whatever it might be. But does anyone have any questions on people to the house? If you do, tap. That's meant to be me tapping. It looks quite unnerving. Tap. Do something. Comment. Debbie says Scat is 2 and still bonkers. Yeah, I definitely found Marley, so I've only had a few of mine from quite young. Marley calmed down at about 3 and Arthur really calmed down at about 3. It's a long time, but then they kind of calm down really abruptly. So again, I've heard of them calming younger, but I'm not optimistic at the minute with mine. Okay, super. So a few of you said you're going to the pub, the cafe, wherever it might be you're going, and your Whippets are excited. Of course they are. It's amazing. They've gone to this place with all of these people. They're a Whippet. If they're a bit, sociable, they think everyone's there to see them. They are very important. They are there. Everyone should be looking at them. And also, they don't want to sit still because they're so excited. Any different suggestions for crotch sniffing? I would probably have them on a line, like a lead, and lead them away the moment they start doing it. It's one of those things that I have definitely been the receiver of with my friends' dogs. And they advised me to just ignore it. I was not a fan of that suggestion. And I had to tell them to please remove their dogs from my crotch. So as an owner, I would suggest you lead them away. You get their attention and just move them away, give them something else to do. If it's doing it to someone else, if it's doing it to you for any reason, I would try and verbally interrupt with something positive, like a kissy noise, an attention noise, and redirect them to do anything else. I hope that has helped. I would lead them. I wouldn't let them rehearse that at all. I wouldn't. Having been on the receiving end, I wouldn't. It says, where my partner gets home from work, we've been recently working on Place Betty's basket in the kitchen. It's getting better every night. Is that a good technique? Let me reread that again. Gets home. But yeah, absolutely. You can definitely use. So Place, I think, is probably similar to what I'm saying with the mat. As I said, I don't mind my dogs jumping up me, and I will say that for me, because I don't mind them jumping at me, but I know other people don't, I just put it on a cue. So for me, I just stay up, and that's why I don't have a problem with it. But you could definitely do that as long as it's not, as long as nothing is overly frustrating, then I am for it. If it's frustrating them and it's getting harder, and it's you guys returning home, and you want to stop them jumping up at you coming in, my honest favourite suggestion is you come bearing gifts. And that sounds really odd, but I come in, I give them something to chew on as I come through the door. They wab it, they run off with it, they chew it. I get in, I deal with shopping, bags, breathing for a second without a Whippet on me. I don't mind, like I say. But sometimes just stopping it before it starts is a good approach. Let's have a look. Only 2.5 years to go then, and we're getting a puppy as well at the end of the year. Oh wow, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun. I will say 2 Whippets close in age is gonna be really good fun for you. Best choose. Oh, can you remind me of that at the end? I promise I'll come to it, but I want to try and remember to do the settling in the pub. I think that'll link in. So they're in the pub, you've taken them there, I would try and take them for a good walk beforehand that's fun and not too overwhelming. Hello, Arkle. And I would, again, I feel like I should have props all the time. Take your mat. Take your mat. Take a mat. Whippets don't like to sit on the cold floor. Not my Whippets anyway. Tell me if your Whippets like to sit on the cold hard floor. Mine don't. I have to carry around something. It doesn't have to be this ridiculously pampered blanket. It could be a towel. But I know that my Whippets like their comfort. So I'm going to go out with my mat of some variety. And I'm going to take it with me. I'm going to be prepared with chews. I'm going to be prepared with Kongs. I'm going to be prepared with whatever my dog loves to keep them busy. Not for the whole time, but just to say, wow, we've got here. Let's tone it down. You can lick on that. You can chew it. Whatever you have, you can enjoy it. And then you should maybe not drift off, but lay down at least. One of the biggest problems I find is that we as humans don't practice this unless we're at the pub. We don't practice them settling on a mat at our feet, because that's a really specific context, is having the bed by our feet and then chilling out on a lead, because that's always more frustrating, and we don't practice that. I practice this loads with Marley because of some very horrible experiences that I had with him when he was younger. He's a reactive dog, and I made a lot of mistakes with him, and we wanted to take him out to the pub, and I remember one day he got a bit too stressed and did some whinging and barking and all of this business. After that I was like, no, we're not doing that again. We're not behaving like that again. So I would get home, not straight after, but I would be at home. I would get his harness out, get his lead out, get his mat out, pop him on the mat with his Kong, stand on his lead, not really tight, but just so there's no room to fly. Then he would chew his Kong. And then when he was finished, he would kind of try and get up like, can I go? I've finished. And I would just calmly wait a moment. When he lays back down, I would drop a treat between his feet. And as long as he stayed calm on that mat, not obsessing over the food, he would get a bit of food dropped between his feet. I always say dropped between their feet because it is less exciting than food to the mouth, and it keeps a lower centre of gravity. I drop bits of food between his feet. Before long, he pretty much knew that when I got the mat out, I sat on a chair, had his lead on, it was time to chill. It was time for a nap. Which is great if I needed him to nap. This mat that I used at home, I could take out with me to the pub, pop it down next to me. He's already used to being on the lead, he's already used to the mat, he's got a conditioned response to it, and he would chill out, which isn't an easy feat for a reactive and nervous dog. This did take a lot of work with Arthur. His off switch was diabolical. And the way I approached it was just reward real calm, not fake calm. Whippets are smart. I keep saying that, and I don't know if anyone believes me, but I think they're really smart, because what they can do quite well is pretend to be calm. I don't know if any of your Whippets do this. You'll have to tell me. But at least two of my Whippets, when we practice being calm on a mat, they'll rest their head. And they'll look to me, rest their head. Their eyes are like flitting between me and pretending to be calm. Basically, that was a dreadful impression. They are smart. Yes, good. People say otherwise. But they sort of just sit there and they pretend. They pretend to be calm. They pretend to be relaxed when actually they're not. I am going to really resist rewarding my dogs when they do a bit of fake calm that results in them going, calm, where's my treat? Calm, where's my treat? I'm just going to ignore that. It's not often I suggest ignoring stuff, but I'm not going to reward my dog pretending to chill out. I'm not saying they have to be comatose. I'm just saying they shouldn't be manically looking between me and Betty is doing it right now. Okay. Yeah. And I think they're really good at this. I think Arkle is the only one of mine who isn't. He's fast asleep at the minute. we'll have to try the mat training with Scout. He doesn't like the waiters moving quickly away from the table. And that was pretty much the problem with Marley. It's fine with them arriving, but as they went to leave, he was like, what? No, don't come back. The mat training is great. I'll post some more stuff in the groups on that, to be fair, because it's absolutely really helpful. If you saw Arkle with the flirt poll earlier this week on his cortisol vacation post, the mat really grounds him for that. I'm losing my voice already. I don't get on with this time of year, which you'll hear me say every time of year, but the air is really dry and I can't breathe through my nose. And I have asthma, so breathing is really fun, especially when I talk too fast. So we have our mat, we can practice that at home. I think if I've got a dog who is excited or a bit unsettled when they are out, I'm also going to, as long as it doesn't make them hyper alert, reward them for noticing stuff going on but not reacting. Every person they see, every dog, because they all love dogs or don't in equal measure. They're all going to notice dogs is what I'm trying to say, I think. I'm going to reward them for not getting up. As soon as a dog comes into a pub and I've got my, or a cafe or wherever I am, I have my Whippet with me. I'm just going to slyly probably drop a handful between their feet and it's not a big deal. I'm not making them excited. Those dogs are not their business. I'm saying, here's your food, you stay here. Please don't get up at that dog. Please don't bark at that dog. Please don't do all sorts of things to that dog. My family, it was the family's Jack Russell, not just mine. And I tried taking him to the pub once. And I can assure you it didn't happen again. So I wasn't allowed to train him, long story. Every time a dog or a person came in, oh my god, it's a person and a dog. Bark, whine, whine, bark, lunge, lunge, hyperventilate. Oh my god, no. I can't live with that. So I could have trained him. Again, I won't go into the ins and outs. But with my Whippets, I make sure they notice something. As long as it's not a big deal, rewards happen. I would try and practice that at home and go at quiet times to the pub as well as when you might prefer to go to it, so that they can get used to chilling, get used to being calm, used to relaxing there, not being hyper alert. Liz said, what are the best shoes? So, it's a tricky question because everyone's Whippet is different and everyone's dog is different and everyone's dogs enjoy different things. The best companies that I use are JR Pet products. We love their ostrich bone. You all know that by now, possibly. Love their ostrich bone. What else do we love? Arkle. He's not very helpful. They love the bull pizzle. I think they're expensive for what they are, though. We've just done an order from Anco, A-N-C-O, and we've got, hang on, it's right here, maybe. We've got this. Do I know what this is? Possibly not. I think it's beef hide. This is the length of it, and I love it. And he's just woke up because I've stolen it. We have various kinds of chews from Anco this long. We've got goat, lamb, I don't know, I just ordered it because I like the size of it to keep them busy. I know that sounds dreadful, but he has had 2 chews at this, and that is the extent of what he's done here. It was probably that long, and that is the extent of what he's done here. And he's had it for about 30 minutes each. Would I think it's going to keep him busy around distractions? I don't think it's that interesting to him because it's hard. So I think you have to balance up how easy and hard things are when you're around distractions too. If I gave this to Arkle in a pub, I don't think he's going to chew it. If I gave him, what does Arkle like? This is a good question. This is a really good question. Arkle likes cheese spread. If I gave him a cheese spread K9 Connectables that's been frozen, maybe semi-frozen by the time I got there, that would keep him busy. Most of my dogs are pretty normal in that they like chews. He's the only one who's a bit faffy. He likes a stuffed frozen hoof. So you've got stuffed frozen hoofs, you've got whatever this is, you have ostrich bones, bull pizzles, trachea is good from a good reputable company like JR Pets. it's very nice to chew. You could stuff it with their food as well. He's now decided he wants it because I tried to take it. Where is he? He's somewhere behind me. Just run. He wants to show everyone. He says he's got a track here. You gonna show everyone? No, you've run off with it. Well, that's charming, isn't it? I think he's got fed up of being a performing monkey and he's doing this quite a lot lately. He's just holding it, watching me at a distance. Okay, I'm not going to engage in that. So there's a lot of different things. Tripe sticks are good if you just want to chew. Might not make you popular in a pub though, and it might not last very long depending on your dog. Yeah, I'll try and pop a few suggestions in the group. I like a frozen licky mat for pub trips, frozen canine connectables, I love topples. I don't know if you've all seen the topples. Google West Paw Topple, Toppl, and it's got like a weird half circle thing, and you can stuff their food in. My Whippets love a topple versus a Kong because it is much easier, and I don't want it to be too frustrating. Arco loves a topple, Arthur loves a topple, the other two love a topple when they're allowed it. They are pricey if you've just googled it, you probably hate me, but they actually use them in my house, unlike their Kongs, which they reject now unceremoniously. So I just stuff it with whatever they like. Mine love butternut box, they love fourth grade wet food, they love cheese spread, they love yogurt. There's all sorts of things they love, and I will stuff it, make it tasty before I get to the pub or cafe. Then they've got that to chill them out. So I'm hoping that might help some of you. You're taking something with you to the pub. You might have trained mat work beforehand, and I would. You are marking and rewarding when they notice things going on without making it a really big deal, so that they learn it's not their business. And again, a bit like I said earlier, this is another case of they will chill out the older they get, assuming it is excitement. Pick your times when you go on practice runs. Some of you will love that excuse. Go on practice runs to the pub, and go when it's quieter so they can get used to it being not very exciting, or the cafe or wherever you're going, because sometimes we take them at the most busy times and the place becomes associated with busyness and excitement. Does that help any of you? Do you have any questions? I've talked very fast again, despite trying to stop. Arkle's fallen asleep with the chew that he said he definitely wanted. He didn't. He just didn't want me to show it to you all. So the Anko treats, I think their website is actually Doggy Treats or something. I really quite like them actually. All of their stuff came in like a paper bag. It felt very environmentally friendly and a lot less stuff to just cram in my cupboards. Most of the chews were at least 30 centimetres. You can have smaller. They also had pork rolls, I think. Goat's ears. I think a client brought, sorry for those of you with a sensitive disposition, a furry cow ear, dried one into classes. My goodness, that kept her spaniel busy. And they are really good, to be fair. Mine love them. The older one's teeth can't take it anymore. But I've actually going to add that to my list of things to buy. I'm a bit addicted to buying stuff apparently at the minute. Any questions, anyone? Any comments? Anything? We've talked about a few things today. We have talked about setting your dog up for success with visitors coming in the home, desensitization to doorbells, desensitizations to you being a crazy human, answering the door to no one, removing your dog if they're doing inappropriate behaviours calmly with them on the lead, rewarding good choices, touch to... Betty hoards those kinds of treats or goes directly... Oh, okay. And because she's an only dog, isn't she? I think they are more likely to do this in my experience, because mine would not bury anything because they think the other one's going to get it. I can't even think of a suggestion for that. I would maybe limit access to it for a little bit. But to be fair, she's enjoying it. I would, though I suppose you don't want to spend money on her digging it up. good thoughts for me to go away with there. Yeah, I would maybe give only for a few minutes in an area and then remove it after, just to build some enthusiasm. She's eating one tonight though. Oh, okay, that's good then. That's all right. I think Uncle's all chewed out because he did have a big, again, I don't know what it was. I think a goat thing, a goat strip of goat dried thing. But yeah, he's all chewed out. He's exhausted. Chews are great in general, just as a general note, guys. They're great for tiring your dogs out. I would not survive puppyhood without chews. Without chews, hooves, and tons of things to sniff. Right. I won't wake up my puppy to show you him. Am I allowed to call him a puppy, by the way? I feel like this is a poll I need to do. He's 12 months now. Is he a puppy? I'm not sure. I'm getting a lot of people giving me looks when I say it. I'm like, here's my puppy. And they're like, that's not a puppy. Could do with a poll on that. I think I'm going to have to make one. So, you've got lots of options for behaviours in the home. So you've got touch, rewarding good choices, mat work. And then you've got your mat work. Yes, he's still a pup. Thank God someone said it. I was getting worried for a minute there. I was waiting. I was like, can someone please reassure me? That's always good. I will continue doing so for some time, I think. He's very puppy-like. Betty's one. She's a big girl now. Oh, okay. Okay. He's a big baby. He's a big baby. Even people who meet him, they're like, how old is he sometimes? And they're like, I say 12 months. They're like, oh, he's behaving a bit younger. I know, he's a baby. He's a big baby. Anyway, so it doesn't take much to send me off track at this time of day. It's been a long day. And in the pub, you've got the option to train them for mat work. At home, you've got the option of taking those licky mats, those chews, those tasty things out with you, whatever you might need. Really reward good choices, especially for those pups, and be aware they might not be able to last as long as you might like them to. You might have to cut your visits short and to go and stack the deck by going at quiet times for a bit. If no one has any more questions or comments, I will let you all go. The recording should be available almost immediately after I finish it. And it should, God, I hope it is. It usually is, but usually at the start it tells me something. Either way, it is or it isn't. It's either going to pop up straight away. I think it'll ask me actually when I close it. I'm hoping it will pop up straight away so that if you miss the start, you can watch it. What I do with all the recordings is I then upload them to YouTube, so they're all in an organised place in some fashion somewhere. So I do have a library building of these. I will pop another poll in the group and see if there's any more of these lives you would like on anything. I'm going to try and do them more regularly because it's dark nights and my whippets are sleeping rather than going out walking. So I've got less things to do. There are probably more things I should be doing, but I quite like doing this. So I'll pop a poll in the group. I'll try and do one every couple of weeks maybe. Check out the website in the next few days, as I'll be putting some more classes up there online, and let me know if you have any questions. And otherwise, I will let you enjoy your evenings. Thank you for watching. If you have photos of your whippets while they were joining you for this, you're welcome to comment those later too. I wish I could take a photo of mine, but this is my phone. Right, I could talk for hours. Bye everyone.